The center is just to the north of Grand Bahama Island, with the eye wall hitting both Grand Bahama and the western portion of the Abaco. Still almost 24 hours of hurricane force winds for portions of the northwestern Bahamas. That's the view on satellite pictures. We'll switch over to a radar image which shows that while the center is still over the Bahamas, the rain bands extend well to the west, and some have now been coming into the east coast of Florida and crossing the peninsula over the last 12 hours or so. These bands have brought winds to tropical storm force in some places particularly along the coast, gusts as high as almost 50 miles per hour near the Palm Beaches. The forecast is for the hurricane to remain nearly stationary, just inch along tonight, but then begin the expected northwestward motion either very late tonight or during the day tomorrow. And that will take the center a little bit closer to the Florida East Coast, and then the forecast has the center moving roughly parallel to the coast for the next 2 to 3 days, perhaps 50 miles offshore. That's important because hurricane force winds extend outward to the west of the center about 35 miles. So what that means is that we're certain to have tropical storm force winds over the eastern portion of Florida, and we very well may have hurricane force winds even with the center passing just offshore as forecast. There is a storm surge warning now in effect for much of the Florida East Coast from the central and northeastern part, and a storm surge watch now has been extended as well farther to the north. Hurricane warnings and hurricane watches are in effect for roughly the same locations, which include the Florida East Coast, Georgia, and into South Carolina, where the threat will be increasing later in the week, from Georgia, South Carolina, and up to North Carolina. So for the next 12 to 24 hours, not a lot of motion. Continued rain bands with tropical storm force to near hurricane force winds on the east coast of Florida, and then a track that takes the center along the Florida coast, maybe just offshore. And that's the great concern now for the next 2 to 3 days. At the National Hurricane Center, I'm Ed Rappaport.